This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to Loose on the Lead live from the Saratoga backstretch. I'm Seth Merrill from Equidaily.com, joined as I am on Sunday mornings up here at Saratoga by Steve Bick from Sirius and XM's At the Races. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
And plenty to talk about from a big day at the racetrack yesterday. 39,000 plus showed up. Nice day, a little humid, but nice day with a really, really nice card. Some certainly notable performances that we will get to in just a moment, but I did want to toss out there also for our friends on the sulky side, the
Hambletonian, the Hambo.
The Hambo yesterday. Marion Marauder wins 5-2. The 5-2 third choice wins the runoff in race number 13. I'm just looking the final time 151 and 4. Have you ever had somebody on your show to discuss that? Because it occasionally comes up on the internet forums and whatnot. I've seen things written about it. The way harness racing they're faster now than they were when I first got into the game as compared to the thoroughbreds that haven't. And I think a lot of it's tracks and the equipment. But I wonder if there's breeding that plays into it as well.
No, absolutely not. Horses have not gotten faster. They have topped out in terms of their ability, and even with nutrition and so forth, horses are not evolving into faster entities, but on the, as you mentioned, on the harness side, you're talking about the evolution of the sulky into fiberglass and into these hyper lightweight pieces of equipment, and as a result, they can get around faster. That story, Chuck Simon was keeping me apprised. Chuck is living right by Pompano Park, whatever the new name of the thing is, Isle, I think. But
Isle of Capri, isn't it?
Isle of something like that. And Chuck was all excited about the Hambo, and he was all over this. He was all over this trotter, absolutely. And it's a female trainer.
Paula Wellwood.
Yes, and it's a great story because she's only got like 8 horses, as opposed to some of these mega outfits on the harness side, that have dozens upon dozens, that have literally hundreds of starters a month. So it's really a nice story. I'd love to. I haven't had anybody on the radio for quite a while on the harness side, but I thought this was a great story.
A couple of eliminations that lead into that final, and Marion Marauder had upset her version of the elimination, beating a 1-5 shot, won at 3-1 the elimination, just over the 1-5 shot. But I haven't seen the replay, but the chart, this looks like a ding-dong
tight. Yeah,
nose, neck.
Yes.
Intriguing.
Chuck Simon will be up later in the month, but Chuck had found the funniest comment. We should find this actually and put it up. Chuck found a comment in the PPs toward the Hambo. One of the races, Red Sea parted.
That's now you have like a literate chart caller.
Yeah, there you go. It was great.
Tossing something like that in. Yeah, very good.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some of the racing from yesterday. Unless you have any overarching comments you want to throw in, but we go to replays.
We got plenty to do, and we should just sort of set the stage for the week at the same time as we dive into the results. And it is, of course, sales week, number 1. Fasig-Tipton kind of taking over the spa these next few days, the next week plus. Yesterday, of course, sponsoring 3 of the races, the De La Rose, the Waya, and the Lure. And the sale starts tomorrow night, the select sale, and then continues into next Saturday and Sunday, where the New York breds pull out the chart, pull out the books. That's why I brought them.
Oh, well, yeah.
Not to bury them in your
I'm asleep at the switch.
That's for sure.
As always. But I look good today, right, with the seersucker. You inspired me yesterday.
Yesterday, I pull out the seersucker outfit for one Saturday of meat.
I bought it before the season last year, and I never took it out of the closet. So I saw you wearing yours yesterday. I thought, I'm pulling it out for tomorrow.
It works on you. You got that look. You got that Oklahoma,
something.
Right? The huckster look, give or take. The other portion, of course, that we'll talk to today, the Saratoga Betting Challenge, Wednesday and Thursday. And there's room for anybody that wants to play. $1,000 buy-in either day. It's not a 2-day contest this year. We will get full coverage of the tournament edge and the tournament scene when the Matisse brothers join us. Duke in town for the contest. He's been around for about a week plus. Duke and Paul together in the second half of the show this morning. They'll talk about the contest world, and of course Paul is on this ongoing victory tour from last year's NHC victory in Vegas. We'll also visit with Aaron Wellman after our first break. Aaron from Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. They've already had a great success with Carolina last Sunday, that coming in the Shoe-V. Yesterday, Comfort second behind Frosted's tremendous effort in the Whitney, and Eclipse, really one of the classy and really well-run partnership operations in the game. And Aaron Wellman, a guy that can really speak to a lot of portions of the industry. He'll talk about the sale. We'll get a preview, see if Eclipse is shopping at this tawny event tomorrow night and Sunday. So Aaron Wellman and the Matisse brothers later today as we dive into Whitney Saturday.
Are you going to be shopping next weekend
No,
at the
I'm
New
in
York
good
Bred?
shape.
Because
We're
I
in
know
great
I
shape.
know you've been there before at the New York Bred.
We have, but we got a yearling that we bred with
oh, that's going to be fun.
Charlie Lepresti at McMahon's. This is a Here Comes Ben, very nice colt. And we've also got 3 2-year-olds that are percolating along, all with McMahon. And we hope we should get Joe. And next Sunday will be tough because it'll be the morning after the sale. But certainly you'll have Joe on this week on the radio. Very big week for them, and strong consignment. They got a lot to look forward to out there. Central Banker, of course, waiting for his babies to start hitting the ring, maybe as weanlings and so forth. Soon enough, but Here Comes Ben, Tufflesburg, and more.
And a reminder to people, again, the big sale Monday and Tuesday, the New York Bred's coming up on the weekend. But a lot of people, I think, are probably still not aware. You can just go down the street and go out in the backyard and watch. It's fun. If you're interested, these are the biggest gamblers in the game. Know what happens over here on the front side compared to these people putting up 6 and 7 figures for untested yearlings. But it's right down East Avenue, quarter of a mile from the racetrack, and the backyard. They walk the horses around. You can go back there, and if
great
it's a nice
atmosphere.
warm summer night, it's a lot of fun. And we should also remind people, Friday this week, Hall of Fame.
That's true, and it's so funny because having the Hall of Fame run, the race run on Friday, I think kind of threw everybody off. Plus, they had, we had Steve Haskin last Sunday, which was a lot of fun, and they let Steve in, and oh my gosh.
I'm totally blank.
Raleigh,
yes.
Raleigh Burrows. Burrows?
Yeah.
Raleigh Burrows.
Yeah.
Into the Joe Hirsch Media Roll of Honor. So.
And it's the Friday. Rachel Zenyatta, Steve Asmussen, and Ramon Dominguez. It should be.
It should be a great week.
Popular. All right, let's get into some of the replays, and let's start right out with the highlight yesterday. The Grade 1 Whitney, $1.25 million, a mile and an eighth. The question mark: could Frosted put 2 efforts together? The answer, yes. He was tested early, pushed by Noble Bird, 23 and change, 46 and change, 109, 134 and change. Comes home in 147.77. Noble Bird, who was right up there early, winds up 5th in the field of 6. So at 1-2, wins by a couple of lengths here and stringing 2 nice performances together.
This is a significant performance, and Kieran McLaughlin, everything that he has said about Frosted has come to pass, and basically confirms his ability to go as readily 2 turns as he did in the explosive 1-turn performance in the Met Mile. And this was really going to be one of the key questions in the handicap division coming into the Saratoga season. He answers it with authority, throws down the gauntlet, and doesn't take any chances of letting anybody walk on the front end like a Noble Bird might have. I think Mark Casse would have liked to have seen Julien Leparoux be a little bit more aggressive into that first turn and try to take command, because Noble Bird has really proven out as a horse that has to be in front. I thought Upstart ran a very good race. May, in retrospect, been a little too close to the pace than as it turns out, you wanted to be. Certainly Comfort, and we'll talk to Aaron Wellman next, but Comfort laying back a little bit and then coming with a close, gets a kind of a breakthrough grade 1 placement, and Upstart hangs on for 3rd in here, and knowing that Frosted is not going forward to the Woodward at the end of the meet, you would think that Rick Violette and Mr. Evans have a big chance with Upstart, who I thought ran well and looked as good as you'll ever see him. So Upstart, I thought, was the sneaky good effort in there, basically running on the pace, staying, basically with Frosted as far back as he was from Frosted the whole way around. Upstart ran very well.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mark Casse and Noble Bird. It's funny, year 2016, I actually walked out of the paddock with Mark Casse because he was on the other day, so I thanked him for being on and wished him luck. And as he's walking out of the paddock for the Whitney, he's watching the feature down at Gulfstream on his tablet, because he has a horse entered down there. And he has it live, the video live on his tablet, walking out of the paddock up here. So it's a different world with the technology these days.
Well, and there was a lot of action because, of course, in Mountaineer, they had their big day with the West Virginia Derby. Baffert a winner, if you did not see
we got that replay
we do have that replay?
Coming up in a few.
Good.
Let's run through the Saratoga first, because the test, it must have been the all but. I was surprised the pick 6 got hit yesterday with this upset, but it did. There were a couple of tickets, and the test, they went out there, they ding-dong. I thought Off the Tracks holding on for 3rd was pretty valiant, given 21 and change, 43 and change, 108 and change, and going 7 furlongs. I thought she'd fold her 10 about mid-stretch, and I liked Off the Tracks. Off the Tracks is the number 7 horse, and I thought mid-stretch was going to kind of hang on, but in the last 16th, fell apart a little bit. And number 1, Paola Queen, gets it done at 55-1, the rank outsider in the field, $112, but the pace just kind of collapsed in here.
Well, it totally collapsed, and this gets a very modest 89 buyer. Paola Queen has certainly kept nice company. She basically is this week's version of Leia Band. Yeah. She's a horse that belongs in elite company in the division, but was probably, a notch or 2 below the best. And basically the roulette wheel fell into her peg, because Gustavo Delgado has I think, really tested her on a regular basis. I mean, the disappointment here has got to be Lightstream, who looked absolutely poised, getting back to what she does best, which is 1 turn, and she loomed a winner and just couldn't finish. I mean, they were staggering home. I mean, this was really kind of at least for the horses that were supposed to be the elite players in here, a little bit of a stagger fest. The horse and the connections that have to be kicking themselves a little bit are Cash is King and John Service with Catherine Sophia, because you cannot tell me she would not have dominated this race the way it was run. So I mean, that was the first thing I thought about was, good Lord, Catherine Sophia would have drop-kicked this thing through the uprights. But that's what you have, and happy for Gustavo Delgado, who gets a very good win for this Grupo 7C that comes out of Venezuela. They spend a lot of money. They dominate down during the season at Gulfstream year-round, and this is a significant win for their operation. Got to be happy for them.
Yeah, nice grade 1 win. All right, a couple other stakes on the card. We'll take a look at the Lure. Just wanted to show this. Boy, it was a ding-dong finish here. Number 1, Shining Copper, is the favorite, gets it done, having kind of stalked early. but just holds on over number 9, Jay Gatsby. It was a ding-dong battle for me, too, because I had picked 3 plays. With the winner, it was $90. With the Jay Gatsby, it was $500. So I was rooting for Jay Gatsby and Jimmy Jerkins, but just gets beaten by a nose back in third, full mast. So as I say, a nice ding-dong battle here to kick off the stakes action yesterday.
Yeah, pretty amazing how these Chad Brown runners just manage to always hold off horses down the stretch, and in some cases, just re-break and go on with it. Quite remarkable. And in fact, as the day was progressing and after Shining Copper's victory, word was coming out about Brown's unbelievable streak of stake performances, and of course it actually gets stopped in terms of the test. That interrupted it. But I don't know what else you can say. Just they always are ready, and you see that red hat with the white R with the Ramsey, and you could tell at the wire. I thought Jay Gatsby, did, and Jay Gatsby was kind of a fancy, clever play for a number of people yesterday, and including you. But it's turf stakes. This turf racing, every one. Exciting like that.
The way a little bit later, Guapaza gets it done for Chad Brown. 7-2, the betting public, 7-2 favorite. The betting public was having trouble here, but it does wind up to be Chad Suffuse runs second and Achna runs third in here. But again, another little ding-dong battle under the wire with Guapaza winning by a head. And I'll also toss in, we don't have the replay, but in the nightcap, it was Lady Lara, who ran in full, and it was her last career start.
It's always that's great for her, actually, and for Bill Mott and the team to get Lady Lara that win to go head off to her broodmare career. Should also mention another performance out of the day that probably was overlooked only because it wasn't a stake, and that was the win by Summer Revolution. Jeff Drown bought this horse for $90,000 at the sale, and Rudy Rodriguez clearly has got a King's Bishop player. 104 buyer for Summer Revolution, geared down at the end. This is a very big performance. The late Camellia Casby from Minnesota, who was just an absolutely invaluable industry stalwart. She bred this horse, and I think everybody that did business with Mrs. Casby will root along with Summer Revolution, and this is a serious,
now in the career, both of them
serious horse.
Good looking.
Big time.
All right, before we go to the break, let's just take a look at that West Virginia Derby. Grade 2 events, $750,000, mile and an eighth, and it'll be Bob Baffert and Cupid getting it done. On the front end, the whole way around under Rafael Bejarano, 74-1, what everybody wants runs second. Name changer at 16-1 runs third, but it is Cupid getting it done in here in the West Virginia Derby. And I said it earlier, between Cupid and American Freedom, you would have to think Baffert will have a runner in the Travers.
But it's neither one. It's neither one. It's Arrogate that's going to run in the Travers. Okay. Arrogate won Thursday at Del Mar, and Juddmonte has got a major player for the Travers. The big story here with Cupid and with the entire card at West Virginia on the main track was the dead rail, and was the quagmire, the quicksand in the first 2 pads. And the very significant performance and decision by Jimmy Barnes, traveling, of course, with Baffert's horses, to have Rafael Bejarano very good at this too. Jay Privman sending out the tweet that nobody in California is more prepared in terms of understanding the way the racetrack is playing than Bejarano. And so they immediately grab the lead. They immediately go out to the middle of the racetrack and guarantee that Cupid is not going to be obligated down on the inside and have any of the trouble that horses that did keep to the inside had all during the course of the day. So Baffert piling up these regional wins, the Indiana Derby, here's the West Virginia Derby, and we'll see. But in terms of the Travers, Arrogate, the big player coming out of a public workout at Del Mar the other day.
Sounds good. All right, we'll head to our break. When we come back, Aaron Wellman will join us a little bit later on, Paul and Duke Matisse. Stay tuned. Loose on the Lead continues.
Going on now at Capital OTB. It's Bet 100, get 100. Simply open a new Capital Bets account. Bet $100 and get $100 cash back. That's free money just in time for Saratoga. Bet 100, get 100 now at Capital OTB.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Can you hear it? It's the sound of excitement. Something we infuse into every grape that goes into our exceptional full-bodied wine. That was closer than I thought it would be. Now, if you'll excuse me. 14 hands, where great times are made.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Runs at him with 1 furlong to run. They've left flat out behind. Fort Larned digs in. Mucho Macho Man runs at him. Fort Larned, Mucho Macho Man. Fort Larned with the heart of a champion.
We're back on Loose on the Lead on this beautiful Sunday morning, Saratoga, the backstretch, and very pleased we can welcome Aaron Wellman, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, to the show, and the meet well underway, and some big wins and some disappointment, the garden variety Saratoga action.
Absolutely. It's the toughest place in the country, if not the world, to come to and do well, so we're very pleased with the start that we've had, and we're just a few strides away from making it really monumental, but overall we're extremely happy with our first 2 weeks of the meet.
Well, that included, of course, one of the races we'll probably watch, and that was last Sunday, Carolina, and the win in the Shoe V. Day before, of course, in the Jim Dandy, Destin partnered up with Twin Creeks, and at the Belmont, which we'll actually probably watch. I was so impressed with you and the partners in Twin Creeks, and the way in which you took it as narrow a beat as anybody would, but Carolina has really turned into one of the elites right now in the Distaff division. Talk about her development and the fun you've had with her, specifically at Saratoga.
She's been a very special filly for our operation for really going on 3 seasons now. It all started 2 summers ago when we debuted her. I think it was the second weekend of the meet. Going 7/8 in the slop. She ran a bang-up race that day, actually ran a very sneaky good figure, and we thought she could run going into that, but until they prove it on the racetrack, it's all a mystery, really. But she definitely overcame some major adversity in her debut. In fact, we thought so much of her that we had her entered in the spin-away as a maiden. She was actually 3-1 on the morning line that day, and we scratched her the morning of the race. It was a big disappointment at the time, but it really proved to be a blessing in disguise because we gave her a little bit of time. She had a very minor shin issue, and we really thought that we had an Oaks filly on our hands, and she wasn't quite ready for the Oaks. She did win an A other than on the Oaks undercard that probably was good enough to win the Oaks that day, but it all worked out really, really well in the end. She's a 3-time Grade 1 winner, and it was nice to see her take care of business in the Shoe V the other day.
She, you can get the sense, is a horse that does not mind the work either. It does seem that as she's matured, I mean, she's been durable. She seems like, as opposed to some, not to take away from horses that, shop for spots or need 8 weeks between starts, but she does seem to come out and compete on a regular basis.
She's a tough filly, and Todd and his staff have done an incredible job holding her together. She loves to be a racehorse. She loves to go out and train. She loves to run. She's got a hugely competitive spirit. She's never run a bad race. The only time she's ever been off the board was when she was 4th in the Ogden Phipps on Belmont Day, and she was given a lot of weight that day to some really, really good fillies, Caffording included, and she sort of did all the dirty work. They went very fast to the half. She was in between horses, lost her right front shoe that day. She took a lot of criticism for the performance, but in our camp, and Todd, I think, agreed, we thought she ran a race that day, and the main summer goal after that became the Personal Ensign, and we kind of thought that history tells us that usually a prep over this track at Saratoga for the main goal is wise and productive, so the Chuvie came on to the...
Still on track for the Personal Ensign then?
That's the plan, yeah. Hopefully, touch wood, she can execute. But yeah, she seems like she's come out of the race well, and hopefully we're full steam ahead.
Gotta ask too, because when it comes to your operation, you're bi-coastal. One of the races we may have an opportunity to watch that I was at the time, and you came on the radio, as did Mike McCarthy, the win by Illuminant in the Gamely. So to have that, that encampment on the West Coast in terms of preparing, and here is Illuminant winning the Gamely at Santa Anita back in May. And this was the first Grade 1 for Whitey, and you can fold in your philosophy, Aaron, at this point in the conversation, because of course Mike, a longtime assistant and exercise rider for Todd Pletcher, when he went out on his own, you were really the linchpin to getting him established, and he is one of the most admired and well-liked people in the whole industry, and you had to be thrilled to have this kind of a connection, forever now with Illuminant and McCarthy and the Grade 1 win.
No, you said it all, really, Steve. Aside from our partners who we were so happy for that own Illuminant, for them to get this Grade 1 victory, and for the filly, it was really, really special to give Michael his first Grade 1 win. He certainly deserved it. You hit the nail on the head. He's an extremely talented horseman, but he's also a good person. And, that's what our philosophy really boils down to. At the core of it is horsemanship and surrounding ourselves with good people. And we really believe that if we continue to stick to those values, good things will come our way. So that was a really, really huge win for him. Our operation, of course, Grade 1s are what we're all in this game for, and she got it done that day, and it was a very, very meaningful, special day. And it kind of goes a little bit even deeper than that, because we have a very special relationship with Mr. Campbell's Dogwood stable. We did a joint venture with Dogwood a couple years ago, which has been an incredibly humbling experience to be so closely associated with Mr. Campbell and his operation. And I think Todd Pletcher will attest to this, Mr. Campbell was very integral in getting Todd off the ground when he had left Dwayne Lucas. I can only hope that over the course of time, Eclipse can play as vital of a role in Mr. McCarthy's career as Dogwood was for Todd. So, we sort of followed that lead Mr. Campbell set, and obviously that's turned out extremely well, and he's been a great mentor and a great partner, so we want to try to do that for other good people as well.
Talk a little bit about this level. You're at the Grade 1 level. We watched a couple of those wins. Talk a little bit about a partnership and how you work with your trainers at that upper level. If you're running claimers, I'm assuming you rely on the condition book and the trainer looking at it a little more. But how do you, when you have runners at the top end, how do you work with the trainers to decide which spots to go to?
The good ones are the easier of the variety of horses to manage. They sort of tell you when they're ready to roll, and when you know that they've got Grade 1 talent and a Grade 1 mind, and they can gel that together, all we can do is mess it up from there. So the best thing to do is do your best to listen to when the horse is going well, pick the right spots if you can, and hope that it all works out. You know, when you've got a guy like Todd Pletcher, who has the vast majority of our horses across the country, and specifically on the East Coast, you know, Todd, he's just got such an incredible instinct and gauge on his horses that, you know, obviously he and I consult on a frequent basis. Thankfully, we've got a lot of horses to talk about, and good ones at that. Hopefully we could keep that the norm. But, you know, it's really about just trying to always keep the horse first. If you can keep the horse first, more times than not, you're going to do the right thing by them, and they're going to pay you back for it. You know, they're going to deliver the goods and reward you. So, you know, it's not easy. You got to keep your eye on the competition, and, you know, a lot of times we'll be happy to take swings for the fences, and sometimes you want to zig while other guys are zagging. So, you know, as long as you try to do what's best for the horse first, and then try to stay out of their way and make intelligent decisions after that, you got to just stay poised, and hopefully it falls your way.
You talked about partnership and working with people in the game, and one of the things that you've done very successfully is connect with various other major entities, including Twin Creeks, and I mentioned the Destin creator finish in the Belmont, and we might watch that here.
Oh, you got to show that.
Yeah, we got to show it. You got to take the near misses. Here it is, near misses with the successes. Destin, of course, retargeting and focusing toward the Travers, and frankly, the Jim Dandy may be a good launching spot. Destin actually probably ran better than people want to give him credit for in the Jim Dandy last Saturday. We'll watch this, but talk about Twin Creeks and talk about Gary Barber and, you know, the kinds of people that you've connected with and the approach, because of course we got the yearling sale starting tomorrow night and Tuesday. We've got options when it comes to 2-year-old and training sales. Talk about your acquisition approach, and then you know, the idea of approaching you know, pre-existing horses ready-made and you know, getting in on that up front.
Sure. Yeah, you know, we really believe that a good horse can come from anywhere at any time. So we keep an open mind as to where and when we might find that next, you know, blue sky, we call them blue sky prospects, or at least what we perceive to be a blue sky prospect. We swing and miss plenty, and we look foolish plenty, believe me, but hopefully we hit the target once in a while. And we really try to offer a variety of avenues that our partners can choose from. Like you said, oh man, this is just nasty, right? Don't look. Don't look. Oh, I can't look. Every time it gets worse and worse. But thanks for showing that, guys. Appreciate it. Anyhow, you know, which is why we really try to offer value in the various genres of the potential horse acquisition avenues. We work the yearling sales. I'm really fortunate to have been mentored in that realm by Eddie De La Houssaye, who was a close family friend of mine growing up. And what a lot of people don't know, aside from Eddie being one of the greatest jockeys of all time, is that he's an incredible eye for a horse. And I started going with Eddie to the yearling sales when I was a teenager, and just following him around and really just picking up on his approach, which has been instrumental in our yearling acquisition methods. And we're always looking for quality athletes first. Usually we can't afford the pedigree to go along with the athleticism and the conformation. If we've got pedigree to substantiate, you know, what we think could be quality, even that much better. But so we work the yearling markets, which of course we're in yearling season now. The most prestigious yearling sales right across the street here at Fasig in the next couple of days, so that's exciting. We do buy horses at the 2-year-old and training sales as well. We've had success at the Grade 1 level buying yearlings, as well as 2-year-olds, and of course private acquisitions. The 2-year-olds are fun. My man Gary Young and I have a lot of fun working.
Capo Bastone.
Yeah, Capo, the underboss. So Gary's a guy, he's been a private clocker out in California for 25 years, and he's an incredible character.
He's number one on the incredible character hit list, actually.
Yeah, you know, they don't make him like him anymore. And I don't know if that's a good thing.
I don't know if they ever
thing.
made one like him. They somehow crafted.
Yeah, but, you know, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We take what we do very seriously, and of course, you know, we love to win just as much as the next guy, and we take a lot of pride in trying to find that diamond in the rough. But Gary's my man on the stopwatch at the sales, and we've had a lot of success there. And as you mentioned, we're always on the lookout for proven racehorses that have raced before, and that is true for anywhere in the world. We import a lot of horses from Europe. We try to buy horses domestically, so you know, we're just looking for quality talent that can hopefully compete at the graded stakes level for our partners. This is where they want to be. They want to be on the big stage at Saratoga, at Del Mar, Churchill Downs, Belmont Park, down at Gulfstream. So if we can continue to put them on that stage and hopefully have them hoisting trophies once in a while, that's really what our mission is.
Well, the opportunity with Eclipse, if you haven't visited their website, EclipseTBPartners.com, operated at the highest level with tremendous class, and one of the really easy people to root for in the sport, Aaron Wellman. And all you had to do was see the picture I put up literally minutes after the Belmont of you, Steve Davison, and Randy Goulat. It had been beaten in a $1.5 million race, and were absolutely as upbeat and as accepting of a beat like that. I don't know if I would be so readily available publicly after losing the Belmont like that. But Aaron, just a pleasure to get you out here this morning, and good luck across the street tomorrow and Tuesday and on an ongoing basis. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity.
As well. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully we've got a couple more bullets to fire. It's fun to be up here. My business partner in Eclipse, Brian Spearman, is actually a Saratoga native, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
And so he's been with me as a business partner in Eclipse the last 2 seasons, and we had a really nice season last year, and we're off to a great start. So it's good to deliver the goods up here, that's for sure.
You got a 2-year-old you can whisper about?
You know, we've got a couple that might be worth keeping an eye on. We ran a filly opening day called Jumbie Bay. She was 4th behind Steve Asmussen's really fast Malibu Moon filly. Track was a little funky that day, and she ran a sneaky good race. We always had kind of in the back of our minds that she was going to be a little turfy. We breezed her on the turf this past week, and hopefully she's going to come back on Friday. I think she should be double tough unless she runs into a buzzsaw on Friday. And then we've got a nice Tapit colt that's coming around in the next couple of weeks named Taprit. We partnered up, speaking of partnering up, we partnered up with Bridlewood Farm and Bob LaPenta.
Oh, very nice.
To buy him for a pretty penny last year over here at Fasig. So he's gearing up for his debut, and hopefully a few later developing ones. But it's exciting and nerve-wracking times with these babies.
Again, good luck. And those two and the remainder of the meet. All right, we'll head to our break. When we come back, Paul and Duke Matisse, speaking of gambling, they're contest players, and Paul, of course, won the NHC, pulled down the big check. We'll talk about that. The contest coming up here at Saratoga this week and more. Stay tuned.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit RTN.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, OTB TV is the Capital Region's choice for the most comprehensive and informative coverage of thoroughbred and harness racing. OTB TV is the only area network delivering a steady viewership, reaching more than 540,000 households throughout the broadcast day and into the evening. Capital OTB's digital presence also plays a tremendous part in getting your message in front of potential customers. With more and more wagering moving to online, CapitalOTB.com can put your message in front of thousands of potential customers 24 hours a day. And with the addition of our new mobile app, new customers will see your message on all their digital devices. To see how affordably you can reach thousands of new customers, contact Capital OTB's Sales and Marketing Department today.
Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. Capital OTB.
All right, here we come.
We're back on Loose on the Lead on this Sunday morning. Just delighted to follow up with Aaron Wellman with the Matisse brothers. Look at this. Could they be any more hip and it's unbelievable. Well, you guys have just gone big time. You were always moderately big time, but now.
Yeah, it just never stops. Everybody wants to
utilize your opinions.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I gotta learn to say no. I don't know. I can never say no to you.
You're wearing team colors, though. You got the tablecloths out in the backyard.
The silks too. The silks, right? The Matisse Racing Stable is a purple.
Yeah, we're purple and white.
Yeah,
so we got the purple going.
Absolutely. Well, you'll be in full swing. You've, of course, on a daily basis in the backyard. But Wednesday and Thursday, with the Battle of Saratoga, kind of refashioned this year into 2 one-day contests. And it seems like all the big players are starting to trickle into town.
Yeah. My friend Jonathan's here, Kinchin, and I've seen, what the heck's his name? I saw him the other night at Sperry's, but I can't think of his name. So yeah, there's a lot of big guys are here to play this week.
I saw on Twitter that the Maven's on his way.
Maven's coming too?
Yeah, I saw
he's taking time out from his busy poker tour.
He's got to play poker.
The Grace horse racing again. Is that Ray Arsenault in
Ray,
town?
yeah.
Absolutely. And what do you make of the format in terms of the 2 one-day opportunities? It actually, to me, instead of the 2-day contest concept, it actually offers more opportunity for guys that fall behind on day one. You're out of it. It becomes kind of a lost cause. But the 2 one-days, I thought, had some merit.
Well, I think it's good for Saratoga. I don't think it's a great contest format in general that you can split them up. But I think it's good because people are traveling to come here. Saratoga's fun. You're on the, you don't get to make this trip, and it's you don't want to be out there for a couple races and chasing for 2 days. So I think that part of it would probably be good. But as far as contest formats go, it's probably just going to be fire and get lucky type of both days. But all of them are different, and I think that's part of Saratoga.
Talk about the challenge of having a midweek, 2 days midweek instead of the usual Saturday concepts. Duke, how much harder is it when you've got midweek racing that may not have the kind of elite fields that we will see on a weekend, like a day like yesterday?
Yeah, as an everyday player, I don't think that's going to bother me much, but I think it will affect some guys. But it's actually, I think it might benefit Paul and me because we do this every day as opposed to just doing it on the weekend. So
it's lucky it's not this card here today.
Yeah, if it was today's card, I'd be in.
Yeah, this one is not a good contest card.
No.
Yeah, we'd be in trouble on today's card. But hopefully, there's a few races in there.
Maybe more dirt races, maybe sprinkle in some more claimers and stuff. That'd be nice.
Let's go back to the beginning of the year, the DRF NHC, the contest out in Vegas. Paul winds up winning. Was first and fourth, right? First and fourth with the top 10. So the Matisse brothers in the top 5, actually. Paul comes down with the big check. I asked you the other day if you got the big check. You said no.
They never gave it to you?
No, they said they were going to send it to me. And my youngest son, he keeps waiting for it. He checks the mail all the time. He wants it.
I want the big check.
Seth has got a thing about the
I
big.
like the big check.
I got one of those.
You are fixated on the big check.
I want to actually walk into the bank with the big check. Can you cash this? That's my sense of humor. I don't know.
I love it.
But talk a little bit about the contest, the format out there, and how you played through in the 3 days.
Well, the format out there, they've changed that contest where it used to be 2 days, but it used to be, that just so many people that you just had to shoot for bombs, midway through the first or second day. And now they have it so there's different cuts that you can make. So I think it really benefited Duke this time. I got going early in this contest. That's why I beat Duke probably. But he didn't, and he just kept making the cuts, and he proved how you could do that. Where if that contest had been a couple of years ago, it would have been where he probably wouldn't have played the same horses because he'd been forced to just take 20-1 shots. And, it's a way better contest the way it is now, where you can just methodically move up, and you don't have to just shoot for the moon right from the beginning.
And rewards. I mean, the way it's set up these days, it really rewards actual play because, of course, some people object a little bit to the format in terms of the mythical or the win place concept, and they say that it's not like real horseplay, and it has given rise, of course, to the live money, the live bankroll contest like the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, and to some degree, though, I mean, there is a purity to the NHC style and the NHC picking winners and not necessarily rewarding people that are better bettors than they are handicappers. I mean, it is a handicapping championship in terms of selecting horses that are going to win.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that tournament, I think, has gotten better and better every year with the less mandatory races, so you can pick your own races. Because you want to handicap your own, you want to make your own bets, If I'm handicapping a card, I want to actually play the races I want to play, not the races that somebody's telling you to play. So they've gotten better with that, and the money contests sometimes come down to somebody just unloading in the last race. Somebody's within, a few $1,000s lead, and they just bet, they bet it all. Whereas you can't really do that in the NHC. You can't make any more money than anybody else. You can only make the same amount in the last.
I was when the money contest started, I liked them because I had the idea before everybody else that just bet all your money at the end. So I actually won a contest I shouldn't have by betting all the money at the end. But as time has progressed, everybody knows that now. And people who don't normally bet $10,000 in a race or $30,000 in a race will do it just to win the contest. And it's the right move. If you're going to enter the contest, you have to get yourself into the fact that I may have to bet $30,000 in the last race, But I don't really like that because, and I haven't even played in the Breeders' Cup contest yet, because you're kind of forced into having an opinion in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and in a couple of those years, I didn't want to go in there and have to bet, and I'm lucky I didn't last year because I never would have bet American Pharoah, and I don't want to go in there and bet, 50,000 against them either, So.
Yeah. It's a great point.
The year I did good. I did the same thing. I had like 8,000 left, and I bet it all to win on Fort Larn. Finished fourth.
Yep.
But there was the guys that had more money than me that bet
exact
more money
the
on
Fort Larn exacta.
Yeah,
that,
yeah. I missed the exacta.
Was that McGooey? Was that
McGooey beat?
That was
me,
McGooey.
Yeah.
And we should reiterate, you guys are both from the local area. Now you're still in Boston Spa. You're out in Southern California. And besides the contest this year, you guys are prominent players and have been in the national contest for years and years. Talk a little bit, Duke, about your background, how you got into the game and started becoming a contest player.
Well, it's family-based. I mean, my grandfather loved the horses, and my dad is a big-time horse, fanatic. So just kind of grew up in it. But actually, when I was a kid, I was more into bowling than horse racing, and just realized that I wasn't going to be a millionaire bowling. So I decided to follow Paul a little bit when Paul started getting into doing speed figures. So I started following him a little bit when we both went to Buffalo State and used to bet Fort Erie and Greenwood all the time right across the border. And that just kind of went from there. He could probably tell you the rest, but just a family-oriented thing. We just have always been around the racetrack. I grew up going to Massachusetts fairs and here every day in the summer. So just had to be involved.
Of course, your brother's a trainer.
My brother Greg's a trainer. Yeah, so he went to University of Louisville and for equine management. So it's in the family.
And Steve mentioned too, we're not really contest players, but when I moved back from Las Vegas, with Duke and I lived in Las Vegas for a while, and when I had a family and I moved back to this area, I used to need every excuse I could get to go back to Las Vegas, and they started having these bigger contests in Las Vegas, and so we just started going. And at first, we didn't really take the contest too seriously. I remember one contest that we had. Duke was the contest first prize was like $25,000, and Duke was up like $70,000 by the fourth race. And we said, "Why are we doing these contests?" And I was concentrating on the contest, and Duke was just betting the money. And I said, "What am I doing?" But as time has gone by, the contests have gotten bigger and better, and we've learned more about how to play them. So I wouldn't necessarily call myself a contest player. I haven't really played a lot this year since I won, but I still want to. When you go to that NHC championship, you want to win that one when you're there. I mean, you recognize right away when you walk in if nobody's ever been there, if they're going for the first time. When you walk into that place, you know you're into.
And you get that you're there live with the radio, and you get that feeling. Just
it
listening
was fun.
To the
that was a particular, and because of course you mentioned your dad, and for those that know, Chicken had a little health scare earlier this year, and maybe that was a residual effect of the excitement in Vegas. But it was so much fun to watch as both Duke and Paul moved inexorably to the top of the leaderboard. And on that topic, part of this contest arena for the two of you and for the Matisse family has been, I think, very interesting, because you were known well before the contest arena in elite circles in horseplay. You were known as some of the biggest players in the game. And in terms of a name that, as the years have gone on, and I've covered the NHC, there haven't been too many people that observers have said, well, so-and-so will one of these days is going to win the NHC. However, the two of you were regularly mentioned and saying, a Matisse is going to win the NHC at some point. How much pressure, how much, real effort and focus has there been, knowing that the insiders know that the two of you are as good of players as there are anywhere in the sport?
Well, Duke's had a pretty good record in contests, but I actually hadn't, especially in the NHC. And I used to joke that I have the worst record in the NHC of any. I don't think I had cashed for a while. I qualified 14 times or something, never cashed for a while. But I think it was more because of the formats. And I mentioned it before, but when they started changing the formats, I started thinking about winning more. And I just kind of just visualized it. It really is like a sporting event. My father gets made fun of, and he's a great athlete. But when he includes handicapping in as a sport,
sure,
and he always gets teased about it, but you really feel that at the NHC, that it's definitely like a sporting event. And the last few years, I was just kind of doing some more of the sports psychology stuff, visualize winning, so I think that helped me somewhat when I got in the position where I kind of made the lead. I saw a couple other people when they saw their name on the board up there, I took a look over to them, and they started to get a little nervous, and it wasn't. That was the opposite for me. I kind of was. It pumped me up even more.
That's right.
So I don't know about Duke, but
yeah. Well, the NHC, like I got a good taste right off the bat, because one of the first years I was in it, I was third with one race to go, and you do see your name on the board, and and there's one race to go, and you're third, and you think you got a shot of winning. You're getting excited.
I think it was the year of ESPN too.
Yeah, they actually they taped that year. Yeah. There's a tape of that one, and actually it was the Maven. The Maven taped it.
Yeah.
He was doing the cameraman, and that year, unfortunately, a first-time starter won the last race, and I was just, it was 20-1 first-time starter that I didn't, couldn't play, and I finished 16th. I went from third to 16th, and went, because they didn't have cuts then. If they had cuts, that would have been a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
If there was 10 people left in that tournament, I would, who knows what would have happened.
It would have been definitely different.
And Duke, talk a little bit about, you guys have kind of alluded to it, and I'm a contest player, not on your level. I jump in and play a few every year. For me, it's different. It's different playing a contest than every day. You're looking for a little more value. You're shopping around. Do you change things up as compared to everyday player playing in a contest?
Yeah, in most contests, you have to start looking for something that's, you know, a little bit out of the ordinary. You can't just go in there and say, hey, you know what, I love this Exacta 1-2, it's going to pay $20, I can bet it for, you know, some good money. Yeah. You have to go in with the mindset of saying, okay, I got to look for horses that are maybe a little trickier. They got to be at least 5-1, you know, and they got to be a little tricky. So you do have to change your thinking a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, I've always said that. Yeah. And it's fun to jump in a contest for folks who haven't, because it does give you a different perspective that then can work over to kind of your everyday handicapping. And Paul, I'll ask you, because you guys talked about it earlier as well, speed figures. I know when I had you on the phone after you won the contest, you talked a little about your speed figures, which yours are unique. Describe them a little bit as best you can.
Well, the only thing that's different than on mine that I do is I kind of track a speed figure for each horse throughout the race. So, which has led to a bunch of other handicapping factors that you probably wouldn't see otherwise if you were just watching the races or if you were just looking at the form. It's putting a numerical value for each part of the track, and there's some concepts of racing that are really not out there yet. Though I noticed by the odds board that people are catching up to me on it, but it really gives you perspective of, you know, sometimes like the test yesterday, you know, that final figure is going to come back slow because it was a second and a half slower than the other 7 furlong race. However, if you break down internally, it's going to be one of the fastest figures that I have in the middle of the race, you know. And a lot of horses are going to have new tops in the middle of a race for 5.5 furlongs or 6 furlongs, and you know that's something I don't think is an everyday topic that they talk about. People understand that the horse got hurt in the duel, so it affected his final performance, but they don't really quantify it, and a lot of times we do. So we'll say, you know, we can get to a point and say, well, he didn't bounce, he didn't do anything, he ran his race, but his final figure will show something different, you know.
On that topic, how did you view Frosted coming into yesterday?
Well, Duke and I have always been, we wanted Frosted to run in the mile, turf, dirt, anything last year. We thought it was a big mistake because we've always thought that he's got some distance limitation. We also think he's the most talented horse we've seen probably for about a mile in the last couple of years. So it wasn't really a surprise to us when we always thought he could have that kind of race in the Metropolitan. Maybe not as good as he did, but certainly 115, 120, you know, on the Beyer scale. So, and yesterday, you know, that's out of his comfort zone again. He's going back to a mile and an eighth, you know. It wasn't the toughest field, so I didn't think he had a lot to worry about, and he's home, you know. It was kind of right along on par what we thought would happen. But going forward, if I were them, I'd say what I did last year. I think I'd go back to a mile and maybe try that World Cup in mile and eighth instead of going mile and a quarter.
The duty free. The problem they're going to have is the expectation is going to be to go for the gold, and I mean, aren't they from a pace? You know, you're talking about the fraction in internal fractions and pace, pace speed figures as pace affected, and how is he going to beat? I heard people saying, "Oh, California Chrome's got a major competitor." No, he doesn't.
Probably not at a mile and a quarter.
No, not at a mile and a quarter.
That's the problem. That's why we think Frosted should run. You know, definitely, maybe even try turf. Maybe next, maybe maybe you can go mile on a turf. You know, that might be a interesting race. The Breeders' get mile turf.
Well, you know, the funny thing about Frosted too. I mean, you know he's going to be the greatest stallion ever. You know, it just you can see it coming. You know, and Sheikh Mohammed doesn't need the money. You know, so.
No big checks in his future.
No, he doesn't need the Breeders' Cup Classic, does he? So maybe he will go to the
like
mile.
in your league, Steve. Yeah. But you know, so they can do different things. They don't have to be, you know. And the thing about racing nowadays is, if you've noticed, you know, it's not always being about the best horse. I mean, look at all the notoriety that Tepin's gotten, you know, and you know we've become a specialized, you know, racing. You know, it's become specialized. Yeah. And why do you have to keep forcing the horse to go a mile and a quarter. He's kind of proven he doesn't really want to do that.
I agree.
You know?
I completely agree. But there's going to be tremendous pressure.
Yeah, he's going to have pressure.
You know, to
I mean, speaking of that, last year, I mean, they didn't put enough pressure on Liam's map to run in the mile and a quarter race, which I think he could have got a mile and a quarter.
That's true.
You know, or at least made that a horse race.
Well, at least Frosted has the advantage of having a more rounded resume.
Yeah.
And he already is going in long term to the, as you mentioned, in terms of the stallion side of things, the Tappet sire and the deputy minister mayor. So he's got everything going for him. Liam's map, they kind of had to let's get one more certain plaudit. Because he's a little bit of an ouchie horse, and let's add that BC title of any kind to his resume. Couple of thoughts. We're going to get close to the end here. I'm not letting the two of you go without a couple of opinions. Duke, today, what do you like?
Right.
Come on.
Let's see. Today,
Duke always bets Avila. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I do love AC Avila. I think he's.
So
Roddy's
got a horse, right?
Plus, he's loose too. He's loose. I think he's
no contingency.
No contingency race too. He's definitely loose speed today. I mean, and AC Avila is super sharp. I think that's one play today. Later on, I like an exacta. What race is it? It's race 8. Race 8 at Saratoga. I like Montelsino and Mighty Super. Yep. I like that exacta. I think they're both around 5-6 to 1, and I think Paul mentioned the horse in that race too. That to me earlier that I think has a shot to get in a try. The 2, Dreaming as Always. So that's kind of the race where I think you can beat Chad Brown in there. That horse got a perfect trip to 9 4-star crook. So I'm going to try to beat him today.
I'm right with you. I like that. Yeah. I like when I get the confidence booster from the Matisse brothers.
That might be the only race Chad Brown loses. In fact, he might win them all. Looks like he's been pointing all these horses for a year. I don't know if that's. I don't know. He shouldn't get credit for waiting a year to run all these horses in one day. I mean, all those cars at Belmont would have been better served if we had seen some of these horses.
Well, that's a topic actually that is an industry stakeholder discussion in terms of the concentration of good horses in too few hands.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that totally.
That's the whole result.
Exactly. Yeah. How about you? What do you like?
I like Royal Posse, which Rudy got off the snide a little bit yesterday in that good horse that he won.
That's a real horse.
Yeah,
Summer Revolution.
Really nice
horse. A serious horse.
And I like the setup. I think it's a tricky race where the pace is going to come up a little bit faster than what it appears on paper. And he likes it up here. I think he's way better at a 1 1/8. And he's way better at 2 turns, too. And he seems to fire all the time. Even when Rudy wasn't doing as good, he was still running as good. And I think he could really... I hope there's enough horses in there that they could...
Yeah, he should be at price,
He could get lost a little.
Yeah. I agree, because Far From Over is going to deservedly get bet. Touch of Star Quality as well. I thought Brendan Walsh was usable in there, that honorable duty.
And I think
he's improving.
I think that's one part of the reason why I kind of like Royal Posse, because I think he's going to run good. He's going to give the speed horses and the 2 that you mentioned, Nevin and Fletcher.
Yep.
They're both going to... That horse isn't going to go away easy. When he turns it up on him, I think the pace will turn up for sure.
And let me ask both of you, because I know, as I say, when I talk to you about...
That's the Aladar, by the way, the 9th.
The 9th race.
When I talked to you on the phone after you won the contest, we were talking about Saratoga, seeing out in the backyard every day, and you said Saratoga, for you, is a tough meet, and you guys, as we've said, are 2 of the prime players in the country. Talk a little bit about Saratoga, how tough it is, and make the $2 better feel good, because it's tough for all of us. But what tracks do you really concentrate on and find you fall into your wheelhouse during the year as well?
Yeah, Saratoga. The horses come from everywhere. They come from Kentucky and Gulfstream and Delaware, and there's just so many 2-year-old races. So Saratoga is a very difficult place to make money. I mean, last year was the first time I think I had won in the last 5 years. The first time I had a winning meet here. So, I mean, Saratoga is just. It's more for what you can, I take notes on all these races at Saratoga. So going back to Belmont, I probably will do better at Belmont in September, knowing, that some of these horses were going to not win up here and be in tough spots. So I think that for me is probably it's more the work at Saratoga, not the betting at Saratoga.
What's your favorite venue during the
year? Probably Santa Anita, just because I'm a little biased. I live out there, and they run so long. I like tracks that run a long meet, so I like to see the horses run over the track multiple times, and then I get a feel for the races. When they stay at one circuit for an extended period of time, which they don't do here, you're only here 8 weeks. I think it's much easier for a trip handicapper than it is for somebody coming to Saratoga, because you don't get those trips.
Paul, what's your favorite?
Well, my favorite, I like my favorite. If I had my druthers, would be smaller tracks. But unfortunately, the way racing's going, you're kind of forced out of that mode. So, I like the Aqueduct Inner Dirt, because it's all dirt racing and it's a big long meet, and it's pretty formful, and you have an idea of where things are going.
And you get the limited configuration.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of movement. You've got the 1.70 miles, you got the 6. There's no
like middle distances.
Yeah.
The thing about Saratoga that I've learned, and I didn't realize this right away, everybody comes into Saratoga, you want to do all your studying, everybody packs up, and it took me a long time to realize this, but Saratoga is really the beginning of the racing year, and it's hard to even believe that, and you don't want to believe it because everybody's so excited to be here and you want to just jump in and fire. But I use this analogy with Steve. You wouldn't bet all your money on the first week of the NFL if you were betting football. And most people don't think as Saratoga as the beginning of the year. But when you break it down and you look at just Chad Brown. He's running a bunch of horses today that haven't run since the beginning of the year, and I think everything comes pretty formful from here. Going in, not so much.
And the 2-year-olds. I mean, you're
And
getting
they start right now.
yes, you get this
Right.
transition, and you also invariably get the horses exiting the Classic season returning to what they do best and what they were meant to do, as opposed to being shoved into a cookie frame that they don't necessarily fit. Whether it's turnbacks and the horses that look at Tom's Ready. I mean, there's the absolute classic. They were trying to make him into a classic horse. Now he's King's Bishop, Woody Stevens, and he's doing what he should have been doing.
And along those lines, the 3-year-olds, a lot of the late maturing ones are catching up right now too. So all these improvements are coming right in this time frame where you can pick up on that.
Yep.
Where a horse that maybe is getting good now, it's really truly the beginning of his career. He's really showing you what he can do. So.
And I'm curious also, before we let you guys go, how long do each of you spend a day prepping to play the races? And are you just concentrating on Saratoga even during this season, or are you looking out at other venues? So how much time do you spend the work, putting the speed figures together, watching replays? We'll get from each of you.
I do most of the replays. Paul does most of the other stuff. But I spend probably, as my wife would know, I spend probably about 8 to 10 hours a day on this. So I mean, it's not, it's more than a full-time job. So like usually I get up on the West Coast, I get up at like 7 in the morning and start, and I'm not done until 5 at night. And if Del Mar's running, I'm not done until 7 at night. And I do follow. As I'm at Saratoga, I do follow Del Mar and Monmouth and a little bit of Gulfstream. So I'm doing 4 tracks, not only Saratoga. So it's a ton of work.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for me, Hong Kong doesn't run during when Saratoga runs. It's like the perfect break. So I don't have any of these late night where I have to be betting horses in the middle of the night. But Duke and I make a good team because we've kind of gravitated to where I just let him do all the basic trip work, with paths and that sort of thing, and the paces and that sort of thing. And I do the speed figures. So
we usually go over the bias.
And then we kind of do that together. And a lot of our work is done beforehand. So, I think we probably spend more time on that than what people would be surprised that we spend more on going back over the races and figuring compared to what we do.
Yeah, the preparation's longer than the actual.
We kind of have an idea where we're going when we open up the form.
And I don't want Duke and Paul to leave without another question that the casual player and the viewer can benefit from. In terms of the weekend player and the vacationer that comes to Saratoga and the people that play the most when we're at Saratoga, what tools and what kinds of information do you suggest they utilize to best succeed here in terms of in terms of past performances, in terms of clocker reports? How much do you think they should spend on additional information, a primer on weekend players?
At Saratoga, I would definitely recommend the workout reports. That's something that like again, it's the beginning of the season type of thing. It's almost like your preseason report, and it really becomes a factor here more so than it. I wouldn't just treat it as gospel. A lot of the clockers think whatever they see in the morning is a lot.
What you're going to translate?
Yeah, and they'll tell you this one can't lose, and they're promoting higher than they should be. However, if you use that information wisely, it's invaluable. But the big thing is the betting when you come here to Saratoga, and this has kind of been my crusade since I won the NHC championship. Is bet a little to win a lot, And the everyday player or the weekend player, it's even more. I think it should be for everyday player. But even if you come here and you're looking to make scores, don't worry about cashing a ticket. A lot of people say, "Oh, I went there and I didn't cash a ticket." Those races that you win when you win a lot, or when you come close and win a lot, will be so much fun and so exhilarating. That's the nature of horse racing, and that's what you want to try to capture when you're here. And Saratoga is the perfect place to do that.
I agree.
Yeah, especially if you're limited bankroll, you have to bet. Not only that, bet a little to win a lot. You have to do that. Maybe pick out only a couple races a day. Don't bet a pick 4 or pick 5 if you have limited bankroll. Bet your best bet of the day and bet that, or bet pick 2 exactas. You got to narrow it down to where you can.
Yeah, and you can have doubles and pick 3s pay here.
Yeah, you can play doubles, or you can play pick 3s. Pick 4s and pick 5s at Saratoga. I mean, I might hit 1 pick 5 the whole meet.
It's been murder.
Yeah,
it's been, and it can be, at least for me, almost here halfway. It has been really frustrating because I've missed a $4,000, a $6,000 pick 5s, harrowing beats, and last Sunday that pick 6. I need Chad Brown to get past Proctor for $16,000,
right, so
and you need one of these for the whole meet. However, the reality is for the smaller player, I agree. 50-cent try, pick a 15-to-1 shot, key it with 3 horses for small money. You're looking at 4-figure scores.
Or even singling a horse that you think is a little crazy. You got a horse that's 10-to-1 and you speculate and you like them. The people that come up to me all the time, they will tell me some horse that they keyed, and you just notice that the scores come from those horses. I liked so and so. That I like Paola Queen.
Yep.
And I played him in a pick 3, and I had the other races covered, and I singled him, and I got a massive score.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake people make is singling big favorites.
Yeah.
You single a big favorite in a pick 3 or pick 4 or pick 5, and there's just no value in that. Everybody's doing that. You got to do something different.
Who could how does anybody arrive? I mean, I respect Paola Queen and Gustavo Delgado, and people are saying, oh, it was just like Leoban. No, it wasn't. No. Leoban was a very playable horse at the price and in terms of the way that race had a potential to unfold. This was a little different. She's kept good company. She's a nice horse, but this thing had to completely collapse for her to get by those tiring horses.
The disappointing thing about that yesterday is because I made my biggest bet of the meet on Lightstream.
A lot of people seem to have.
And I can't believe how bad she ran.
Yeah, she had no excuse.
She had no excuse. None. I mean, when they went 21 and whatever, I was licking my chops. I said, I can't lose.
So was Gustavo Delgado.
Yeah. She was better than Lightstream, though, somehow. I don't know how.
I'm blaming little Andy Sterling.
Yeah, because he touted her.
He touted Lightstream all over the place. I think he moved that Paola Queen on us.
Yep.
He got me again, little Andy.
So you guys
Maybe Nick picked them.
You guys are both playing Wednesday and Thursday?
Yes. They're playing both days.
And they're playing today, and they'll play Fort Erie on Tuesday. Are they playing in the both days?
No, I'm at the contest. I'm at the contest.
Holy cow. He's playing the low roller today and
I am
tomorrow.
playing both of them, but I think I'm in one of the days. I haven't picked the day yet, but I think I'm in, so good luck for second place.
That's right. I'll tell you what, you win Wednesday or Thursday, I'm gonna get one of those cardboard
give you a big
checks
check.
just for you.
That's right. I'll get my own big check.
Narrow cardboard check.
All right.
I'm going to name a horse cardboard check just for you. Seth's cardboard check.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
We ran a little long, but we wanted to do it
No, we
with the
didn't.
Beast
We could
Brothers
keep
in here.
going.
Local guys and contest players, big players as well. got some nice advice from them this morning. Aaron Wellman as well. Good conversation with him. So another Loose on the Lead in the books, live from the Saratoga backstretch. We're every Sunday morning from 10 until 11
or
11:20. or beyond, as it works out. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. You can rate us at looseonthelead@yahoo.com.
I never
or visit
check the
Facebook.
box.
Yeah, you got to check sometime during the meeting, just in case. We give it out every week. But by all means, get in contact with us if you'd like to. All right, we'll wrap up. Enjoy the races this afternoon. Cash a few tickets. See you back here for the Handicappers Report tomorrow morning at 9.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.